What is up, Packers fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Daily Draft, brought to you by Brewski Light Lager, the best can in all the Midwest, from our friends over at Badger State Brewing in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just a minute's walk from Lambeau Field. They have so much cool stuff going on. We'll get into that a little bit later. Today, we are breaking down a very, very high Packers fit, and that is, and I did check the Stanford website for the pronunciation here, that is Stanford wide receiver Elic Ayomanor. Elic Ayomanor. That is my understanding. That is how I read the pronunciation guide. So that's what we're going to rock with. Probably going to refer to him as Elic, though, for the rest of this show. Okay, pros, ideal size at 6'2", 206 for versatility. Not so big that he has to play, big slot or has to play, post up guy, whatever, but not so small that he's pigeonholed into the slot. I think he can play a lot of different positions across the formation. I think he can be a valuable piece in a number of different places for Green Bay's offense. Excellent speed for that size, that 6'2", 206 size at 4.44. Not elite, not 4.3, but 4.44 speed is plenty good enough for most of the things you're going to do on an NFL football field. Good hands, snatches the ball away from his frame. He's got late hands. And what I mean by late hands is Davante Adams was awesome at this, and I'm not calling Elic Davante Adams, but when you have early hands, right? So I'm running, I've beaten a corner, safety, whatever, and the ball's in the air, and I go like this early. Well, the corner knows he can play the football. Davante was so awesome at running. He knows the ball's in the air, but the ball gets about 6 feet away from him, and he goes, oh, and the DB has no idea that it's happened. Elic Ayomanor has that superpower, and I appreciate that about his game. More of a threat after the catch than you would think for a player of his size. He does pretty well with yak for a bigger dude. Physical, both in his routes and with the ball in the air. And in the run game, he will block your ass. I appreciate that about him as well. He separates really well for a bigger receiver, which is my favorite part about his game. He is sort of Dontavion Wicks, like in that way, in that he gets open. That is my favorite trait for wide receivers. I'm not a big guy on drops. Like I can talk myself past drops. Do you get open? I don't like Laquan Treadwell. I didn't like Treylon Burks. I didn't like a number of guys. Excuse me. You have to get open. And Elic Ayomanor gets open. Extremely explosive athlete in a straight line. You look at that broad jump. You look at that vertical jump. That is linear explosiveness. And he's a red zone animal. Watch the film. Cons. We don't have agility numbers. And the tape would tell you he's probably a linear athlete. 12 drops since 2023. That is too many. And his ability to beat press does not match the RAS score. And even just the explosive numbers, you'd assume that he wins a lot in the first 3 or 4 yards due to the explosive numbers, due to the numbers that we're seeing from a broad. Like your vert and your broad really are more from a football standpoint, actually about your explosive ability and your quickness or your ability in that first 1, 2, 3 yards than it is just like, I'm gonna go up over somebody's head and moss them. That, of course, a great vertical jump will help you with that, but it's not why they're measuring the jump. A big guy who runs fast, but yet isn't yet a big time vertical threat. Again, we don't have tape that matches the metrics. We have great tape. I like Elic a ton. But like him as a bomber or a big-time downfield threat for a 4'4" guy that is 6'2", you would think that there would be more productivity down the field than you see right now. You know what is productive? Buying the Green Bay Draft Guide powered by Packer Report. So much cool stuff in there. I wrote a big thing about the Gutekunst way. I wrote a 7-round mock draft. We've got player fits on all of the 225 players that have been profiled there. Jacob Wessendorf wrote a piece about whether the rest of the division is catching up to the Packers. You've got Packer People by Jacob Morley. Like, there's just so much cool stuff there, and it is the number one way to support us in our journey to continue to produce Packers content. Makes it worthwhile. Like, obviously, we do it because we love it, but a little compensation for our time is certainly appreciated, and it is the number one way to do that. Absolutely, is to buy the draft guide, and we love each and every one of you to do it. Okay. Packers fit. There is not a test. Oh, shoot. There's not a test that we actually have data for that he didn't pass with flying colors for Green Bay. He's a perfect Packers fit other than we're missing a test. I think it's an agility test that we're missing. But every other thing, height, weight, speed, I think broad jump, I got to look at what all the things are, but all of the things that you would need to be, he's tall enough, he's heavy enough, he's fast enough, he's explosive enough, like all the things that you would need to be a Packer, he is. Other than I think we're missing one test. So he's not a perfect Packer, but he's a perfect Packer in what we know. West Coast kid. Stanford now somehow in the ACC, but he's a West Coast kid. He is, and by the way, they've gone to Stanford for kids. Ty Montgomery, obviously Blake Martinez. These are recent draft picks. They are both TED draft picks, but they've gone to Stanford. There would be no reason that they would not go to that program for players. He's just Packersy as hell when you watch him play. Like I think he reminds me of like a little bit more of an explosive James Jones if we're going Packers only comp. I think a more athletic James Jones would be awesome. I think that'd be a great thing, right? I think he's faster than James, and I think I really like Elic Ayomanor, and you'll see that when you get to my grade. And if they take him, he's probably got the Sam seal of approval. They're a West Coast guy. I know he's been promoted above and beyond West Coast scout, but if they take a West Coast guy, you just assume that Sam Seal has said thumbs up. And, I could go on and on. I do, right? Aaron Rodgers, West Coast. Jordan Love, West Coast. Clay Matthews, West Coast. Kenny Clark, West Coast. Kevin King, West Coast. And right, there's some bad with the good, but they just Demarius Randall, Pac-12, Arizona State. Like I can keep going. Carl Bradford, Pac-12, Arizona State. Jordan Morgan, Arizona, Pac-12. They do it, right? So it is something that they would very, very much do. If you're talking about a Packers fit perspective, I think 100%. Overall, he's got really high second round grade from me. He does. He's my 34th overall player. Not 100% sure where he ranks among wide receivers, but it's high. And I'm guessing that I am higher than consensus on the player. I would guess that Elic is one of kind of my guys. He's one of the guys that I'll bang the table for. I think people would think he was a reach at 23. I would think he was a little bit of a reach at 23. If they got him at 54, I would lose my damn mind. Lose my damn mind. Drink, brewski, buy the draft guide, and go Pack Go.